Chat is good to go. Unfucking believable, man. Fucking ridiculous. All right, looks like we're live. What's up, guys? It's your man, Donovan Sharpe. Welcome to this edition of Chop Block. It's going to take me a little while to calm down. My fucking computer has gone absolutely fucking haywire, and I'm about to destroy my fucking studio. So let's just go ahead and get started. The first story that we're going to talk about is Chelsea is holding up the Pochettino deal. Miami J, take it away, please.
Yeah, so this is it's not necessarily a horrible thing that's going on here. It's just more of an annoyance. They have to settle out Pochettino's old contract because he got technically for some freaking reason Chelsea let this guy go. Sorry,
Oh, it's all right.
the-
No
there we
problem.
go. So yeah, Chelsea let him go, so they have to like settle out of his severance or whatever.
Right.
But the bad part of it, the good thing is, it's not a matter of if he's going to sign with the U.S. It's a matter of what. The bad part is Pochettino's only going to have like 10 international windows, 10 opportunities to bring the team together,
Right.
and do his thing. Now we have a window coming up in September that it doesn't look like he's going to get to be a part of.
Oh, wow.
Like he might be there, he might get to show up at the games and maybe say hi to the players and everything, but he's not going to coach those two games. Which, when you only have 10,
That's like
10% of your
20%.
entire time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you only have 10,
Exactly.
yeah, that's
So
you're going to lose, you're essentially losing a fifth of the time. So
exactly,
that could be an
exactly.
issue.
So that's the annoyance right now. The word is, well, again, the word was that this deal was going to be done and announced last week.
Okay.
It wasn't because Chelsea still, I don't know what the hell it is they're sorting out. I guess they're trying to lowball him
Oh,
um,
really?
on his severance. I mean that's got to be the only reason, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
you would think they're not wanting to pay him out or whatever it is, but the thing that really gets to me is that Chelsea's got American owners, so these guys
Oh, now
should
that I
at
didn't
least,
know.
yeah. Guy's name's Todd Bowley. Honestly, Chelsea's gone to shit under him.
Oh, wow,
But
that's not good.
but yeah, I mean, you would think that they would have some sympathy for the national team, but here we are.
Apparently they don't.
But like I said, yeah, the good news is it's a matter of when, not a matter of if.
Okay.
And yeah, thankfully all the players or most of the players seem to have had a good start to the season.
Okay.
Pulisic scored today. Weston
Oh,
McKennie got a contract extension at Juventus.
very good. Oh,
Uh,
Juventus, yeah, yeah.
that, yeah, Dest is still injured with that torn ACL probably till January, so we won't see him for a while. Same with Tyler Adams. But the core of the group's doing just fine over in Europe, thankfully. So
Okay.
let's just hope the deal gets done, and next week we can come on here and talk about his press conference.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. So what's happening, guys, is my keyboard for whatever reason is just not working properly. I don't know what the problem is, but I seem to have it just will not function properly. So it might be a little bit choppy. I do apologize. I wanted to open up the phone lines. I can't do that because my goddamn keyboard doesn't work. So let's and I apologize, guys. This is gonna be choppy because I'm fucking pissed. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Let's move to the next topic, man. Earlier this week, there were a slew of firings at ESPN. Two of the most notable were Sam Ponder, Christian Ponder's wife, and Robert Griffin III. And so Sam Ponder was the host of Sunday NFL Countdown. Personally, I liked her. I thought she did a great job. I thought she was good at her job. My guess is that this was probably maybe more or less a salary cap casualty. So Jay Blaze, like, what are your thoughts on Mike Greenberg replacing Sam Ponder? Is this the right choice, the wrong choice? What are your thoughts?
So I did enjoy Sam Ponder. She has an edge to her. Like
She does.
she did a great job hosting. And dude, it's not easy keeping all those personalities in check on Sunday and Monday. And the issue I have with this is Greeny does get up.
Yeah.
So there's no it's kind of like a cool change up to just have Sam Ponder for football.
Sure.
But I think they fired her. One, she does not do like any of the sports centers, or she's only football. She was making like $3 million, and I think she was outspoken against men going into women's sports.
Oh,
so
really?
I think all those added
That
up.
makes a lot more sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense. Actually,
I think RG3 was demoted, so I think he was a smokescreen to say, "Oh, we didn't just fire Sam Ponder. We
fired
got
a
rid
black
of
man too.
RG3."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Miami J, what are your thoughts on ESPN replacing Sam Ponder with Mike Greenberg? Yeah, that's the problem, guys. It's my fucking keyboard.
Well-
It's just for some fucking reason it just doesn't work anymore. So you know what? That's the end of that. Please keep going.
It's all good. You know, I like Mike Greenberg. I have no issues with this. I actually haven't seen NFL Countdown in years, probably since Chris Bergman used to host it way back when. Or has it been that long? How long's Chris Bergman been gone? Not that long, like 3-4
I
years?
think like 6 years, 5 or 6 years.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, I haven't seen NFL Countdown since the Chris Bergman days, so I have no problem with this. And I like Mike Greenberg, so I have zero issues.
The
Well,
other issue is,
Don,
Keep going,
I
guys.
believe Laura Rutledge was pushing hard for this position, so you could have some backroom politics because
there could be.
you replaced a pretty white blonde with Mike Greenberg. So is Ryan Clark going to be pissed that he didn't get the host job? Is Laura Rutledge going to piss? And will that add to some backroom politics?
It could, it is Disney, so firing a woman and demoting a black NFL player for a white guy, that's not going to play too well in the optics, but we'll see. But I mean, as a viewer, I would have no issue with Mike Greenberg hosting. I think he does a fine job. So,
My apologies, guys. I'm just not doing good at all. This is fucking crazy.
it's all good. It's all good, man. That's why we're here. I was just telling the audience I have no issue with this move. I like Greenberg, so got no problem.
Yeah, he's
with
an
that.
excellent host.
I haven't watched NFL Countdown. Yeah, I haven't seen NFL Countdown anyway since the Chris Bergman days, way back when. So,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh, wow.
I
Okay.
watch NFL Network in the mornings.
Oh, okay. Yeah. ESPN's Sunday NFL Countdown, that's definitely my go-to. I agree with Jay Blaze. I think Mike Greenberg. Here you go. Then fuck it. I don't need it. Fuck it. Don't worry about it. I'll find something else. Don't worry about it. I'm good. Thank you. I think Mike Greenberg, for my money, I think Mike Greenberg he's probably the most skilled host I think I've ever seen, because he's versatile. He does radio, he does television, he does podcasts. And I remember he was very good with Mike and Mike in the morning. And I remember when Greenberg decided that he didn't want to do radio anymore, and that was sort of the end of Golick's career. I think he did something with Trey Wingo for a little while. And of course, we all know, Trey Wingo, he gets all triggered over SJW shit. And Mike Golick is definitely a conservative guy. Went to Notre Dame. He's from Cleveland, et cetera, et cetera. He's definitely a Trump guy. So it stands to reason at this point that it stands to reason why, Mike Greenberg wanted to separate, of course, keeping politics out of it. But I think for now, I think he's the perfect host. My question is, when's this guy going to sleep? Because he does get up Monday through Friday. He does radio right after. He's got a radio show with Hembo right after the show. And listen, I'm sure they're going to give him a bump in pay. And I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I suppose hosting Sunday NFL Countdown, it is work, and I'm sure it can be a slog, but it's a good time. It looks like the guys have fun. Mike Greenberg is as good as they come, to be sure. So I'm glad I'm glad they replaced him with that. Go ahead, Blaze.
Well, Don, we're seeing this more and more. We're seeing Stephen A. If you give Stephen A, I think he's pushing for $20 million. They're going to put him on everything. He was on the NBA draft coverage. They because they're losing a ton of money, so they want their players to be in certain positions. Like you have Pat McAfee, who does a weekly show, and they want him on College Game Day.
Yeah,
so
he's good.
It makes sense.
All right, let's move to the next topic. Our guy Apollo is probably... There has got to be something. I think our guy Apollo might be in the chat. If you're not in the chat, I do apologize. I'm actually trying to bring up the chat now. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, for all intents and purposes, they look like they are going to be a very bad football team. They have not looked good in any of their preseason games. I actually wanted to make it a point to watch the preseason game today because Justin Fields and Russell Wilson were both going to play. I totally missed it. I mean, I've been busy all day, so, and of course I'm just watching the Phillies kick the Royals' ass, but the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin's been there. I think this is his 17th or 18th season. He's never had a losing record in Pittsburgh. I think he is in danger. I think that streak is definitely in a lot of trouble. The only thing that can save the Steelers, as far as I'm concerned, is their defense. And even still, I'm not even 100% sure that that's even going to happen. So Miami J, let me ask you this: how bad are the Pittsburgh Steelers right now?
Well, I got them at the bottom of their division, and keep in mind that's a division that includes the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
So you tell me. But yeah, I think they're pretty bad. Wilson's way past his prime. I think he might be done. And Fields, I don't think he's all that great either. So I agree with you that if the Steelers do anything this year, it'll be on the back of that defense and T.J. Watt.
Yes. Sure. Yeah, T.J. Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick.
I look up and down their roster, and I'm thinking, where are the points going to come from? Who's going to score the touchdowns?
Right.
I don't see it.
Yeah, and listen, they definitely listen. They have a stout defense. Minka Fitzpatrick. Also, don't forget they just picked up Patrick Queen from Baltimore, and Patrick Queen, for my money, one of the best linebackers in football. I think that the Roquan Smith Patrick Queen linebacker duo was akin to the Patrick Willis Navarro Bowman duo there in San Francisco back in 2011, 12, 13. And 14. I thought that the Ravens would keep them together. I guess Queen, decided he wanted a little bit more money. Jay Blaze, what are your thoughts on the Pittsburgh Steelers? How bad do you think they're going to be? Can they make it up? I mean, what's going on here?
Dude, the QB play has not been good in these preseason games. And dude, the amount of fall off from Russell Wilson and Fields, we didn't hear great things with his time in the Bears. So I was hoping like a fresh start would get him going, but dude, it's tough bringing in two new quarterbacks and a new offensive coordinator. And I heard from the Steelers they want at least a playoff game win, and I don't see that happening.
So are they saying that if Mike Tomlin doesn't win a playoff game, then he is in danger of losing his job? Is that what's going on in Pittsburgh?
I think this could be similar to the Eagles with Andy Reid.
Okay.
Andy Reid and Mike Tomlin, great coaches.
Yep.
But, dude, sometimes you just overstay and your voice just becomes a little hollow.
Yeah.
So, it isn't the worst thing. Like, Tomlin going to, another team and just having a fresh, set of eyes on things.
Yeah, sure.
It's not the worst.
No, it's not the worst. To me, it sounds crazy to me that they would. It sounds crazy to me that they would consider firing Tomlin. He's been, again, 17 years, never had a losing record. B Don's 21, a fucking idiot in the chat, made probably about the dumbest fucking statement I've heard all day, and I'm probably a little bit on edge because I'm a little bit pissed off. But he says preseason don't matter. Y'all looking into it too much. Nigga, number one, let's try to speak proper fucking English here. How about preseason doesn't matter? You all are looking into it too much. Number two, you dumb fuck. Preseason does matter, dipshit. That's when undrafted rookies make the team. Preseason also tells us how good the team is. The Steelers are going to be fucking bad. You want to know why? You want to know why we know that? The preseason, dipshit. No, the preseason absolutely matters. You can tell this guy doesn't really watch football. He just comes in here and makes dumbass comments like the preseason don't matter. Y'all looking into it too much. What the fuck kind of statement is that, man?
What I'll say is, I'll put it this way: the preseason scores don't matter. Your team can go 0-4,
of course,
but show a lot of quality, show that they've improved. They can give the fans and themselves confidence going into the season.
Right.
Of course, preseason matters.
Of course,
if it didn't matter, they wouldn't play it.
Listen,
and you're looking at schemes. Yeah.
Not only that, you want to know why we know preseason matters? Because of the man on the left-hand side of your screen. The Seattle Seahawks signed Matt Flynn to a 3-year, $15 million contract, which was big back then. They drafted Russell Wilson in the first round. Russell Wilson outplayed him in the preseason. He got the job and never gave it back. So go fuck yourself, Beatons21. Come up with a better take than that. Face Facts with a $2 super chat says the Pittsburgh stepdads. Oh my God. No, wait a minute. Whoa. Wait a minute now. Justin Fields isn't a stepdad, is he? I know Russell Wilson is a stepdad, but come on, man. Like, come on. Let's move to our next topic because we just got a comment in here from somebody. I have no idea what the hell's going on with my screens. So, Russell Wilson, man, listen, he's a Super Bowl champion. I think he's gotten one MVP vote. He could have been a 2-time Super Bowl champion had Pete Carroll decided to not run Marshawn Lynch. And think about it this way: the 2013 Seahawks. That defense could have been one of the greatest of all time. They would, if they beat the Patriots in Super Bowl 49, they will have beaten Peyton Manning and Tom Brady in consecutive Super Bowls. That had never been done before by one defense to beat two Hall of Fame quarterbacks in succession in Super Bowls. So Russell Wilson has completely fallen off. Obviously, we all know the story. Seattle sent him to the Denver Broncos. They gave up 2 first-round picks, a bunch of money, and it was an abject disaster. I don't put that all on Russell Wilson. I think I put some of it on Nathaniel Hackett. I think he is the most inept. He is the most inept offensive coordinator, quarterback coach I think I've ever seen. The only reason why he's still in the league is because he's Aaron Rodgers' buddy. But now people are starting to, like you said, Miami J, if he doesn't make this roster, if for whatever reason it doesn't pan out in Pittsburgh, I don't know that Russell Wilson finds himself on an NFL roster as a starter. Definitely as a backup, right? Because he'd be one of the best backups in the league. But can you imagine? I have never seen a Hall of Fame quarterback have this kind of decline. I'm dealing with a chest cold. So my question to you,
okay,
Miami J, is Russell Wilson still a Hall of Famer?
No.
Ooh, okay.
No,
All
look,
right.
Russell Wilson. You said he had one MVP and won one Super Bowl. I'll give him 3 good seasons in Seattle, 3 awesome seasons in Seattle. 3 seasons does not an MVP make.
Okay.
Okay. So no, he's not does not a Hall of Famer make.
Okay.
I will tell you this: if both of them retire today, Patrick Mahomes makes the Hall of Fame way before this guy.
Oh, of course, absolutely. Your thoughts,
Yeah,
Jay Blaze?
so-
I'm sorry.
so
Go
no.
ahead.
This is similar to Eli Manning. He's the Hall of Very Good. And dude,
That's good.
have we ever seen a QB drop off this much? Like,
Yeah.
dude, because Russell was that guy who had, like, Pete Carroll cared about the running game, and then Russell, they kept saying, let Russ cook. He would just, like, run around with his head
shit.
on, like, and then he'd just find, like, a wide receiver down. He was a great deep ball passer, but, dude,
Yes.
he has no timing.
No.
Sean Payton showed this. He can't. He's not like a Phillip Rivers where he just times these guys open. He needs to, like, run around. And dude, I think he lost a step or two. And
Of course.
That's why he can't do that. And I think he went to Denver thinking, I'm going to become a pocket passer like Tom Brady.
Right.
Bro, you're 5'9". It's not happening.
The Hall of Very Good. We got a question in the chat. Phantom313 says, would you put Eli Manning over Russell Wilson for the Hall of Fame?
Nope.
Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely. Because Eli Manning is a 2-time Super Bowl champion. Now, this is a debate. Is Eli Manning a Hall of Famer? I think he's a Hall of Famer, just not a first ballot Hall of Famer. He belongs there.
Yeah.
He beat the greatest quarterback of all time, and he's undefeated against the GOAT in 2 Super Bowls. He also pulled off the greatest upset in Super Bowl history, beating the 18-0 Patriots, who literally ran through the league back in 2007, which was my first. That was actually the first year I played in fantasy, which I won, by the way. And by the way, speaking of our fantasy league, guys, we still have 4 spots left.
Yes.
I would put the email, pardon me, I would put the email in the chat, but I don't have a goddamn keyboard because I just fucking
got it.
destroyed it. Thank you. But I think I would put Eli Manning, and I've said this before. This is probably the best description I've heard of Eli Manning in terms of determining his value to, the National Football League. He is either the best of the worst or the worst of the best. I think that's probably the best description. Eli Manning is like the opposite of his brother Peyton. Peyton Manning he was a Hall of Fame regular season quarterback. Please believe. For whatever reason, he'd get to the playoffs and he would shit the bed. Now, obviously, he is a 2-time Super Bowl champion, but I think Peyton Manning's been to 4 Super Bowls and won 2. He's 2 for 4 in Super Bowls. He won Super Bowl 41 against the Bears. Then he lost Super Bowl 44 against the Saints. Then he got destroyed in Super Bowl 48 against the Seahawks with the Broncos. Then he won Super Bowl 50 against the Carolina Panthers, and he wasn't. And remember, he was benched that year for Brock Osweiler. Peyton Manning was an absolute shell of himself in Super Bowl 50. That was insane. So you can almost say that Peyton Manning has really 1.5 Super Bowls as compared to Eli Manning's 2. But it's funny how the Manning brothers are sort of the opposite. One guy plays his best in the regular season, the other guy plays his best in the postseason. What are you guys' thoughts?
So the problem with Eli Manning, he led the league in INTs at least 2 or 3 seasons.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
And let me ask you, these 3 quarterbacks, who do you have in the Hall of Fame? Joe Flacco, Russell Wilson, or Eli Manning?
Yeah, it's Eli.
I put Eli Manning.
It's Eli. Yeah. It's Eli. Yeah, it's definitely Eli. Yeah.
Not just that. Think about this. I mean, it's probably not a very important stat, but Eli Manning's playoff winning percentage has to be pretty high up there.
Yes, of course.
For his career, because he didn't make the playoffs all that much.
No. And listen, his single season, I think his record in the regular season, he's 1 game below 500. It's incredible. He's 1 game below 500 in the regular season. It's crazy.
Not just that, something else remarkable about both of his Super Bowl runs is that he did that as a wild card team.
Yes.
Both
Yes. Yep.
Beat the Cowboys.
Yep.
13-3 Cowboys.
That's right. Yep. Beat the 13-3 Cowboys. I think they were the 5 seed. I think both times they went to the Super Bowl, they were either the 4 or the 5. And I remember the last game of the 07 season, the Patriots played the Giants. You guys remember that? And the big story was, and the Giants were 11-5. They couldn't advance. They couldn't change their playoff position, whether they won or lost. They could have gone, they were either going to go, they were 10-5. They could either go 10-6 or 11-5. It wouldn't have mattered. The Patriots had already had the AFC locked up. They were at that point 15-0. They couldn't increase or decrease their playoff position. They played a really, really, really good game. That was actually the game also that Tom Brady set the then touchdown record by throwing his 50th touchdown to Randy Moss, which was actually the record breaker for receiving touchdowns, 23. That was a very good game, but I think the Giants learned a lot in that particular game, and I think they used that in Super Bowl 42. Is Russell Wilson still a Hall of Famer? At this point, I think it's pretty safe to say that he probably never was in the first place. I think that if he had continued to string together those 3 years that Joel was talking about, if he has 3 more years like that, maybe he's in the conversation, but I don't think he ever was a Hall of Famer, and I think these last 2.5, 3 seasons are evidence of such. Last thoughts on this, Jay Blaze?
That's another thing I will say.
Oh, go ahead.
Let me go real quick.
Yeah.
We are very, very quick at putting somebody in the Hall of Fame. 3 years, and we're calling Russell a Hall of Famer because he won a Super Bowl and MVP. Look, Mahomes may not be a Hall of Famer, okay? He's been in the league, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, he's already a Hall of Famer.
Give him 7. Probably.
Yeah, he's in.
More than likely.
No. Listen, if Mahomes were to retire today, he's a Hall of Famer. He's won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years.
Sure. What I'm saying, Mahomes is a case apart. What I'm saying is we are way too quick at putting successful quarterbacks as Hall of Famers or labeling them as Hall of Famers.
Okay, very good.
I've seen kids already. I've seen people on Instagram and everything already label Joe Burrow a Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's crazy. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, no,
that's
it's
crazy.
ridiculous. I'm saying as a fandom, we are way too quick to do that, myself included.
Okay, very good. Jay Blaze, what are your final thoughts on the Russ is a Hall of Famer discussion?
We're seeing this with T.O. The off the field stuff is affecting his Hall of Fame status. If Russ was not a cringy guy who got cheated on by his wide receiver cheated on his wife.
Yep.
And
Golden
he's
Tate
with Sierra. Dude, like if he had like a good off the field representation, we might think differently of him. But dude, I think that combined with this, dude, it's not good.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. B-Dons21 says Russ is 100% a Hall of Famer quarterback. Recency bias has y'all in a chokehold. He's not a Hall of Famer, and you know it. I can tell that this nigga's black. Then he says Mahomes is not a Hall of Famer. LOL, this dude is a clown. Yeah, so at this point, he thinks he's just trying. He's just trying to upset me. Like the first comment. No, hold on. The first comment upset me because he's a fucking dumbass. But now he's just trying to razz me. This dude knows Russell Wilson is not a Hall of Famer. He knows Patrick Mahomes is already a Hall of Famer, and he's trying to call me a clown. Okay, B-Dons, you win. You don't know shit about sports. It is what it is. Go ahead, Miami J. Dumbass.
No, I was just gonna say he obviously didn't listen to what I said. I didn't say Mahomes wasn't the Hall of Famer.
Right.
I said we're too quick to put these quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame, and I use Mahomes as an example.
Right.
But
right.
Yeah, Mahomes is a Hall of Famer.
Mahomes is a Hall of Famer, but I understand what you're saying. Like you're using that as an example. Like we put him in the Hall of Fame when he won this last Super Bowl.
After his second year.
Right.
I think
after his second year, we put him in the Hall of Fame. That was too close because after his second year, I think he won the Super Bowl. Then he lost to the 40. Then he lost to the Buccaneers. Then he went back against the Niners. So, but yeah, I agree. I think we put these people. I think we put these people in the Hall of Fame too quickly. I think we did that with Russell Wilson. I agree with you. And remember how hesitant we were to put Tom Brady in the Hall of Fame. He had won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. We still didn't consider him to be a Hall of Famer. We didn't start thinking about him as a Hall of Famer until he won Super Bowl 49, which he almost lost.
You could give Tom Brady 2 Hall of Fames.
Yeah, you could. Here's a name for you that we didn't talk about, but I would probably put in the Hall of Fame before any of these guys that we've been talking about, except maybe Mahomes. Matthew Stafford.
Oh, yeah. Matthew Stafford is a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer.
Exactly.
He's a stat monger. But he has longevity, right? Like he's been in the league, I think this is his 12th or 13th year. Right. Okay, I'm with you. Go ahead, Jay Blaze.
Yeah, I would say Matthew Stafford is Hall of Fame.
Yep.
I think image plays a part. Like
I agree.
He was always like for the team. We haven't had any of the cringe moments except for his wife in the recent podcast.
Yeah, right.
But
he was already
have a good image of Stafford.
Yeah. No, I agree. And you know what's interesting? It's funny. I try to. I've always been able to separate the art from the artist. It's not called the Hall of Ethics. It's not called the Hall of Good People. It's the Hall of fucking Fame. I mean, yeah, T.O. was a pain in the ass, but guess what? He's one of the 3 greatest receivers we've ever seen. Randy Moss, also a pain in the ass. He's one of the 2 greatest receivers we've ever seen. Who else? Lawrence Taylor. He's one of the greatest defensive players ever. The dude was a crackhead for a decade, was always getting in trouble with girls and beating people up and this and that and the third. We all knew he was a Hall of Famer. So I think that with the advent of social media, and now we've got younger and younger voters now for the Hall of Fame, and younger voters, they are prisoners of the moment. That's why they decided to anoint Mahomes as a Hall of Famer after his second year. After he won his first Super Bowl. And I think that was probably more or less a projection in terms of, like, I don't know. I think a lot of people were saying, a lot of people put him in the Hall of Fame, but then there were some people that were like, okay, he's on the trajectory of the Hall of Fame. And those people weren't wrong because he's won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. He could win 4 and 5, 3 in a row. If he does that, then now we're going to start talking about him in the same conversations as the greatest quarterback of all time, but he's still got 4 to go. Okay, very good. Let me go ahead and put a poll. I'm going to put up. I'll go ahead, Miami J. Well, I'll do. You can go ahead and talk while I'm putting up this poll.
I was just going to say, yeah, let's go.
Okay, very good. All right. So our next topic, Uncle Rico gets the nod. As the starter for the Las Vegas Raiders. He beat out Aiden O'Connell. They call him AOC. Second-year guy out of Purdue. His number 1 receiver at Purdue was Charlie Jones. I have no idea why the fuck I know that. I really don't. But listen, Gardner Minshew he's a career backup. He started out in Jacksonville. Obviously, he came to Philly. Then he went to Indianapolis, and I'm sure he's played for a couple of other teams. Jay Blaze, what are your thoughts on Gardner Minshew getting yet another start for another NFL team?
I do like this. Dude, he's like the next Fitzpatrick or Fitzmagic.
Yep.
Dude, he's just a spot starter where you can put him in. He's always going to be well liked in the locker room.
Yep.
And if you draft a QB, And even if you don't draft a QB, he's going to keep you in games. He's like just that guy who just will right the ship, I believe.
Yeah.
And they can either draft a quarterback next year and probably have him start next year and, train the guy up.
He's a competent quarterback. I remember when Jalen Hurts went down a couple of years back during the Eagles super season. Now, trust me, we'd rather have Jalen in there than Gardner Minshew, but like when he went down, when we all knew he was hurt and we knew Minshew was coming in, we were like, okay, we're not going to be as good, but we're going to be okay. What are your thoughts on Gardner Minshew getting another start for another team, Miami J?
Yeah, I'm perfectly cool with it. I put him up there like Jay Blaze was saying with Fitzpatrick, with Philadelphia Super Bowl winning guy.
Carson Wentz.
Oh, Carson Wentz.
No.
Oh, Nick Foles.
The guy that took over for Wentz.
Yeah, Nick Foles. Yeah, Nick Foles. Hang on. Go ahead.
And these great backups who are consummate professionals. So he's going to be a great caretaker of that locker room. I love him, starting in over there in Las Vegas. Got no issue with this. I think he'll do great.
Good stuff. L Bond says it was actually David Bell. I don't know what you're I don't know what you're referring to. B Don's 21. The only David Bell that I'm aware of used to play Major League Baseball for the St. Louis Cardinals. So I think you might be talking about the wrong sport. He redeems himself. He says, and Minshew is a dog. I think he is underrated. Yeah, I think, Gardner Minshew is, I think, because we had this discussion last week. We talked about some of the best backup quarterbacks in the league or the league has ever seen. Josh McCown, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Nick Foles was one. I think Gardner Minshew is going to start. I think he's going to start to be in those discussions. Chase Daniel, Chad Henne. When Mahomes went down, the Super Bowl season they beat the Eagles. When Mahomes went down, Chad Henne came in and he was absolutely a serviceable quarterback. So I'm glad Gardner Minshew, and I don't even know how old he is, but I don't think it matters. I think as long as he is upright and can throw a football, I think he'll have a job in the NFL. Any final thoughts on Gardner Minshew?
Gardner just knows how to win.
Yep.
He's just one of these quarterbacks. It might not look pretty.
Yep.
But he will make certain plays to win you games, and that's all you can ask for.
Yep. No, I totally agree. Daryl Clark says his stats in Jacksonville were amazing. Yes, they were. They were absolutely amazing. But then the Jacksonville this is the funny thing. The Jacksonville Jaguars, after Nick Foles won the Super Bowl and then almost got us to the divisional round, the Jaguars gave Nick Foles, I think, a 4-year, $88 million contract. And then, Minshew was sort of out. And I think Gardner Minshew was the backup. Nick Foles got hurt. Minshew comes in, takes the job from Foles. Then they end up drafting Trevor Lawrence after that. So Minshew has really sort of paid his dues, even in Indianapolis. The only reason why he got the play is because Anthony Richardson went down, and the Colts had a winning record. I think they went 9-8. So listen, I'm glad for this guy. Listen, we love him here in Philly. Well, we loved him out when we were in Philly, and I think he's going to do well with the Raiders. But I think the Raiders definitely need to draft a quarterback in this year's draft. Yeah. That's the way I see it. Okay, let us go to the next topic. Division winners. So listen, last week we had a dynamite show. It was almost 3 hours long. We kept you guys up till midnight, but one of us said a bad word, and I had to take it down, and I'm gonna have to repost. No, it's okay. I say bad words all the time, so I will have that reposted shortly. So what we are going to do now is we are going to have our division winner predictions. We are going to start in the AFC. Miami J, talk to us about your selections.
Well, first one's pretty obvious. I think the Bills' window closed in the East, and I don't think the Jets have enough to make it. So I think the Dolphins will take that division. In the West, how can you pick anybody but Kansas City?
Right.
The North, to me, was the toughest one. I went
really?
back and forth between the Browns, the Bengals, and the Ravens for a while. Yeah, that was actually the last one I filled in out of all divisions. And then the South, I really like C.J. Stroud. I like what the Texans did last year, and I think they'll build on that. Not a lot more to say. I mean, it's pretty simple right there.
Okay, very good. I like the picks. Jay Blaze, literally the same. It looks like you guys have the same picks. Jay Blaze, explain yourself, my friend. He's a copycat. Explain yourself,
Hey, I
please.
posted mine earlier than yours.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
No, you posted. I think he posted his. I think Miami J posted his last week, but I can't disagree with that.
I said mine last week.
Oh, okay.
But he's like, all right, fine, whatever.
Dude, we all know there's going to be one division that's just going to be going crazy. So, but yeah, I just go with QBs.
Okay,
and
that's good way
I
to
just
put
went
it.
with the best QBs of each division.
Okay, all right.
Like I think Josh Allen's team is out of the playoff window, but Super Bowl window. So that's the only reason I choose them.
No, I totally agree. B-Don's 21, very good question. We'll get to that in a second. He says, is CJ Stroud a top 5 quarterback? I think he is. I mean, listen, I know we've
in
only...
the AFC.
In the... Top 5 in the AFC. Okay.
In the AFC, yes.
Okay.
In the NFL, I don't know yet.
We could probably name 5 quarterbacks. Let's name 5 quarterbacks better than CJ Stroud. Mahomes,
Herbert,
Burrow,
Tua, Mahomes, Herbert,
Josh Allen.
The disparity. Listen, if CJ Stroud is a top 5 quarterback, those are all AFC quarterbacks. We haven't forgotten about Matthew Stafford. I'm not going to say Jalen Hurts because I think Jalen Hurts is kind of in a different category. And we'll talk about him here in just a second. But yeah, Jordan Love is obviously on the ascent. I think CJ Stroud is definitely a top 7 quarterback, could be a top 5. But I'm gonna tell you what, after this season, he might actually be in the top 5 because listen, there's a lot of season to be played. So, my picks.
And please, if he goes to the AFC Championship, let's not call him a Hall of Famer just yet.
Fair enough. Because Mahomes went to the AFC title game his rookie year.
Exactly.
Here are my Lamar Jackson. That's another one. Yeah. See, we forgot all about. Here are my predictions. I'm gonna go a little bit against the grain here. I'm gonna pick the Jets to win the East. If the Jets don't win it, I think the Dolphins definitely will. I think the reason why the Jets have the best chance to win the AFC East is because they kind of fucking have to. Because things could get sideways very, very quickly for the Jets. And I've heard this on Cowherd all week long. They start off with San Francisco. I think 3 of their first 4 games, are against division leaders, but they've got that hellified defense. They upgraded their offensive line, and they've got Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, I do believe that the New York Jets will win the AFC East. As far as the AFC North, I think the Cleveland Browns are going to win that division because I think the New York Jets have the best defense in the NFL. They're number 1. I think the Cleveland Browns are 1A. I think the Browns are right with the Jets in terms of their defensive prowess. Awesome secondary. They have last year's defensive player of the year in Myles Garrett. They play absolute hellified defense. They turn things over. In the AFC West, it's obvious. It's going to be Kansas City for the foreseeable future. CJ Stroud and the Texans, they're not losing that division. They got better. They won the division, and they lost their top 2 receivers, Nico Collins and Tank Dell. They did it with basically, spit and glue. They got those 2 guys back, and they've got Stephon Diggs, who will probably be a number 3 receiver. But those are my division winner predictions for the AFC. Let's move over to the NFC. Miami J, you've got the Eagles, the Niners, the Lions, and the Falcons. Explain yourself.
All right, so the East, I think, is pretty self-explanatory. I don't see the Cowboys, the Commanders, or the Giants challenging the Eagles.
Yeah, not only that, we've taken all of their best players, so yeah, it's over.
Yep. The Niners, I'm a big fan of. I think they're probably, if you look at rosters on paper, I think the Niners are probably the most well-rounded team in
okay.
More so than the Eagles.
Yep,
and
I agree.
The Lions, look, I'm not sure how good the Lions are going to be, honestly.
Okay.
But I fell in love with them last year, and I'm going to ride with them all the way this year. We'll see about that later.
Hey, let's do it.
And the Falcons, I think they're probably the most improved team from last year, just roster-wise.
Yeah.
They did some fantastic moves this offseason. They had a great draft, and they have the easiest schedule in football.
Yes, you pointed that out last week.
Easy pick there.
Absolutely. Let's go to Jay Blaze's picks. Surprise, surprise, they're the same as Miami Jays. Oh, my goodness, we've got a trend going on here, man. We've got a trend going on here, man. Listen, these are clearly, these are very obvious, right? Like, it's no stranger that at least 2 of us have the same bracket. Give us your explanation for your division winners here, other than the fact that you copied Miami J.
Again, I go with the best quarterbacks, and
Okay.
I believe Kirk Cousins probably has the better weapons, and I think he's a little better than Baker right now. The North, the Lions just crushed it last year, and I only see him getting better.
Yeah.
The Packers, the only team that I could see, like, dethroning them.
Okay.
The 49ers, like Seattle, we don't know what their coach would do just yet.
Good point.
Yeah, and the Rams, I just don't trust them yet until I see them without what's his name? Their defense tackle who retired.
Aaron Donald.
Yeah, Aaron Donald. I don't trust him yet. And the East, like the Eagles are the best team in the East. Like the Cowboys, they have a good defense, but other than that,
yeah, man. And they still haven't paid Micah. Good explanations. Or CD or Dak. Here are my picks. Yeah, I'm going. Listen, man, I'm almost with you guys, but I think the LA Rams win the NFC West. Here's why. The 49ers have had a very noisy offseason, right? The Brandon Ayuk contract still isn't done. Trent Williams still isn't in camp. Christian McCaffrey, who's going to have another good year, I don't think he's going to have as good a year because he had a lot of carries. I think this is, I don't know what season this is, but we know that the shelf life for running backs is much shorter than other positions, and the fall is precipitous. Like, it's not a steady decline. It's like, boom. I'll never forget. You guys remember LaDainian Tomlinson? It was like 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I forgot what year it was, but it was like a year or two before he was the best running back in football. 2 years later, he's with the New York Jets riding an exercise bike on the sidelines when he was a healthy scratch. So it gets very, very ugly very, very quickly when it comes to running backs. I do think that Puka Nacua is going to be another breakout star. They've got Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford. His elbow problems, his arm problems are a little bit worrisome. And don't get me wrong, losing Aaron Donald is definitely a factor, but I do believe that because of the noisy offseason of the Niners, I think they might get out of the blocks a little bit slow, which will give LA an early advantage for the division, for the division lead there. Let us move to so now we're going to move to our postseason awards. So Miami J, your offensive rookie of the year is going to be former University of Georgia tight end Brock Bowers with the Raiders. Why do you pick him as the offensive rookie of the year?
Well, there's a kid I was watching out of college. I desperately wanted the Dolphins to draft him. I think he was for me, he was the best player in the draft. More than Caleb Williams.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Mind you, he's a tight end, so he's not likely to go number one. I will give a nod, and I think Bo Nix has a chance.
Okay. All right.
To steal this, but for my money, I put my money on Bowers.
Okay.
Like I said, I think he's the best rookie in the NFL.
Very good.
Talent-wise, he's the most talented rookie.
All right. Offensive rookie of the year, also coming from the AFC West. Jay Blaze has Xavier Worthy, the rookie out of Texas. They're calling him like Tyreek Hill light. Like they think that this guy has that kind of like game breaker type speed. Talk to us about your rookie of the year, your offensive rookie of the year pick for the offensive rookie of the year.
See, you're going against the grain, choosing anyone that isn't a quarterback. But, dude, Xavier Worthy, he can stretch out the field, and I think Mahomes was missing a really fast wide receiver. So I'm believing in Mahomes to get him the ball, and I think he has a shot.
Okay, very good. Miami J, you actually, I think you might have been reading my notes because I think the offensive rookie of the year, I think it's going to be Bo Nix. Bo Nix has started the most college football games in NCAA history. Now that's going to be broken, provided that Dillon Gabriel, now with the Oregon Ducks, formerly of the Oklahoma Sooners. By the way, Dillon Gabriel, the quarterback for this is how old I am. Dillon Gabriel, the quarterback for the Oregon Ducks, I watched his father play college football. I watched Garrett Gabriel play at the University of Hawaii, when they crushed Brigham Young University 56-14. Who was the quarterback? That's right, almost two-time Heisman winner Ty Detmer. I remember watching that game. Anyway, I'm just flexing my sports knowledge. But yeah, I think Sean Payton finally has his guy. Bo Nix has the experience. He's a grown-up. He's married. He's 23, almost 24 years old. I think he's going to win the Rookie of the Year. I think it could be Jaden Daniels, possibly Caleb Williams. But I think for my money, I've got Bo Nix. I've got Bo Nix winning the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Final thoughts on either of those guys.
I look, Bo Nix to me is the dark horse in this offensive rookie race.
Okay.
Mainly because of Sean Payton. He's a Sean Payton prototypical quarterback.
Yes, he is. Yes, he gets rid of the ball quick. He's accurate. Doesn't have the strongest arm, and he doesn't really throw a good deep ball. But guess what? He plays at mile high. He plays at mile high. He plays at
Mile high.
Yeah, he plays at mile high, and so that'll give him that will I think
that'll definitely help.
Yeah, I think that it was. I mean, listen, what was the kicker that was booming 60 and 66 yard field goals with the Broncos? He got in some trouble. Brandon McMahon. Every kicker in Denver is always, kicking, exactly. 65 plus yard field goals. Final thoughts on Offensive Rookie of the Year.
I will say the only issue I have with Bo Nix is he might not make the playoffs, and it might affect his stock in rookie.
I agree with that. Sure. And listen, he is. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, I will say I'm very, very much looking forward to the end of the season and coming back and seeing how wrong we all were.
Okay. Dude, listen, we've got all of this. We got all this tape. Daryl Clark says the AFC North is loaded. Browns, Ravens, and Bengals could all potentially win 9 to 10 games. Yeah, I think the weak link in the AFC North is definitely the Steelers. Could be wrong. I doubt it. Yeah. Ivan Lopez says, I think Lamar will make his Super Bowl this year. What do you guys think about that?
They're a dark horse pick for me. When we were doing our Super Bowl picks, I thought about the Ravens a lot.
Okay.
Especially, dude, if you remember them last year, they were so quiet about everything, but they just ran over everybody. They quietly went about their business and just ran roughshod over everybody. I loved it.
Jay Blaze?
Yeah.
Until they met Miami, and I hated them.
It does help that they have their tight end back, who was
Mark Andrews,
Lamar Jackson's security blanket.
Yeah, he just recently got in a car accident, but he's okay now.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
And they have a running back who hopefully will stay healthy, because Dotson just he kept tearing like ACLs or MCLs, and dude, that just cripples the team early. So hopefully, they can stay healthy, and he needs to win at least a playoff game or two this season.
Okay, very good. Daryl Clark says, I wouldn't be surprised if the Buccaneers won the NFC South, though. I think I'd be a little. Listen, I wouldn't be shocked. I would be surprised, because the Atlanta Falcons have upgraded in just about every way. They have the best quarterback room in football. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Okay. B. Dons says, just made another stupid statement. He says the Saints will win the AFC South. What in the world? What on God's green earth are you talking about? How in the world are the Saints going to win the NFC South with the Atlanta Falcons in the same division? Remember, they signed Kirk Cousins. They drafted Michael Penix. I just think they just got like 3 safeties or something. They traded for Matthew Judon, so they've got the upgrade on the defense. Like B-Dons, if you're going to make statements like that, you have to be able to substantiate that. Why do you think the Saints are going to win the South? Go ahead, Miami J.
Yeah. I was going to say, before we move off the Offensive Rookie of the Year, we should give a shout out to Marvin Harrison Jr. He might make a run for it too.
I forgot all about him, but you're right. I think that I think he could possibly be, I think he could make a run for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Yes, Matt Prater. That's who it was. Hold on. CDL says Falcons getting smashed by the Panthers. I'm just gonna stop reading stupid comments.
Panthers aren't smashing anybody.
No, they're not smashing anybody. Their defense smashes their offense in practice. Daryl Clark says, but ATL has a great squad. Kirk is way better than Desmond Ritter. I could honestly see them winning 11 games. Honestly, I agree. Phantom 313 says, as a Falcon, I love Penix, pick for the future. We also picked Judon from the safety from Denver. Boy, that was really choppy. CDL says Christian McCaffrey. The man's ball too much. Oh my God, you guys are killing me here. We eventually had to let him go because he was taking away from the other playmakers. We had him in Carolina. Still want him to get a ring. It is what it is, man. Listen, they traded Christian McCaffrey because he's the best player on the team. They had to, he wasn't going to make a difference in Carolina one way or the other. Phantom 313 says, I think the Commanders might be the second best team in the NFC East. I would agree. I think the Commanders are going to be.
Yeah.
Now, of course, obviously, we just traded. The Eagles just traded for. God, I've already forgotten that guy's name. Jahan Dotson. We've already, traded for Jahan Dotson, but no, I'm good to go with that. I think the Commanders could possibly be the second best team in the NFC East. I think maybe Dallas could be second, but I think the Washington Commanders are probably better than they are. What do you guys think? Commanders second best team in the East.
I do think Dan Quinn
Dallas
knows
defense
more about the Cowboys,
Okay.
and so he might actually surprise the Cowboys with a couple wins in the division.
Okay.
And I think they overachieved last year, and I think the Cowboys will underachieve this year.
Sorry about that. Miami J, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it might come down to the Dallas defense. If the Dallas
That makes
defense can stop the rest the Commanders, then those two games will be very important to decide that.
Yes, I totally agree. Wow, good discussion. Very, very good discussion. All right, let's move to the next postseason award here. The Defensive Rookie of the Year. Oh, my God. Pardon me. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I've lost you guys. Hang on. Sorry, guys. Hang on 1 second. I can't find you guys. Hang on a second. This one's on me, guys.
We're here.
Okay, go ahead, Miami J. Talk about your Defensive Rookie of the Year, and I'll be right back. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, well, obviously Dallas Turner, easy pick for me. I think he's by far the best defensive rookie.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, very good. Okay.
And not just that, I think for a rookie linebacker, it's not a very easy position to get accustomed to, and he's looked fantastic in the preseason.
Yeah, he has.
I mean,
he was awesome at Alabama, dude.
Yeah, he was. I'm a Gators fan and I'm an SEC fan. I've watched him his whole career. This kid is kid's for real. And honestly, my thing about picking him is I don't see who else can get it. I don't see any other defensive juggernauts sitting on the in the pool of rookies this year.
Okay, very good. So Dallas Turner is your Miami J. Oops, sorry about that. Not Miami J. Jay Blaze, his Defensive Rookie of the Year. Surprise, surprise! It's also Dallas Turner. Oh, this is great. Dallas Turner, rookie linebacker out of Alabama. Jay Blaze, what?
So before he goes, next time we do picks, Donovan, I'm just sending them to you. I'm not putting them in the
I didn't look at yours, but
oh my God, yeah.
I'm just messing with
Of course, we're just messing around. Go ahead, Jay Blaze. Turner, what you got?
So I think it helps that he has. Do we know any other player on the Vikings besides him?
Justin Jefferson.
Any defensive player, because dude, it stands
number
out.
22. What's his name? What's his name? The white guy. Anyway, but I got you. So no, yeah, right, exactly, right.
So it does help that he's going to be like a shining star among some dull things. So he will like lift it up in a way. So I think he has a good shot of winning.
Okay.
Because of that.
Okay, very good.
You know who? Now that you just said that, you know who he now reminds me of? Do you guys ever see the movie Draft Day?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very good movie. Yeah.
With Kevin Costner. He's Vontae Mack.
Oh, yes. The guy played by the late great Chadwick Boseman. Huh. Very good.
Chadwick Boseman. Yeah.
Harrison Smith is the guy I'm looking for, and there's another guy, a cornerback. I think he's like half black, half Filipino, something like that. My offensive Rookie of the Year is Chop Robinson. He's going to be a defensive end, rookie out of Penn State. Clearly, I have a little bit of bias because right there, close to State College, Penn State. Got to watch him play a lot. My defensive rookie of the year, Chop Robinson. You guys, listen. This was a very, very, very good pickup by the Miami Dolphins. Yeah. I think that this guy is going to be able to. I think this guy is going to contribute right away, like right away. Final thoughts on defensive rookies. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, as a Dolphins fan, I hope so, because usually when rookies come into the to the Miami defense, it takes them a couple of years to get going.
Right.
That's been the trend, at least over the last few years. But if this guy can come in and contribute, hell yeah, let's go.
Okay, good stuff. All right, let's move to the next. Now, of course, you guys see that I've sort of misspelled it here. Defensive player of the defensive rookie of the year, offensive player of the year. Miami J picks Tyreek Hill. Okay, explain why you think it's Tyreek Hill.
Do I have to? I mean, I think the guy's finally going to break 2,000 yards this year.
Wow! Oh, dude, if he breaks 2,000 yards, then yeah, I think he might get MVP votes at that point.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him at all. I will say this: as optimistic and as high as I am on the Dolphins this year, I do think this is their last chance.
Okay.
For this win, for the Super Bowl window.
So this is their Super Bowl window.
They have, yeah.
Okay, so it's now or maybe next year, or is it now or never?
They got to get really creative with the salary cap.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, because they've got Hill, Jalen Waddle, Devon H. Yeah, they got a lot of mouths to feed. Yeah, and they just gave Tua his money. So all right, very good. Jay Blaze, your offensive player of the year, dude. Cannot disagree with this. Justin Jefferson from the Minnesota Vikings. Explain yourself.
I will say that losing Kirk Cousins, if he has an amazing year, I think it will be on another par.
Okay.
If he does it with Sam Darnold.
Okay.
And I think that will put him above a bunch of other wide receivers that did it with, a Tua or a Dak or somebody like that.
Okay. I think that just stay with me here. I think that Sam Darnold he will have a better year than Kirk Cousins had last year. I think that Justin Jefferson will get even more. And I don't think it's because of experience. I just think it's talent level. Kirk Cousins is never going to be the biggest, the fastest, the strongest, but he processes quickly. Sam Darnold is big, fast, strong, and he's accurate. I mean, we labeled him a bust, I think, after 2 games when he was in New York. But yeah, I think that Justin Jefferson is poised for a breakout year because of Sam Darnold. I think him and Sam Darnold, I think they're going to really aid each other here in the upcoming season. And again, they're in the very competitive NFC North.
Can we really call it a breakout year, though? This guy broke out 3 years ago.
I know. I mean, it's not really a breakout year. You know what I mean? This is his, he got his money early, and he's worth every penny of that $35 million a season. Nobody can stop this guy. Go ahead.
I will say Sam Darnold, this is the best team he's had in his entire career. And dude, he's still young. I think he's 25?
Dude, he's a youngster. He's gonna get this is a second contract. He's gonna get a third, possibly even a fourth contract. This kid, I think, is gonna make somewhere in the neighborhood of $350 to $400 million just on the field. That's how good I think this kid is gonna be for a while. Okay, my offensive player of the year. Listen, man, this is my guy. Dude, I'm telling you right now. Deebo Samuel, he is my favorite player in the league right now. This dude, I think his position is unofficially a wide back. I think that because Brandon Ayuk is still holding out, he's probably going to get off to a slow start. Christian McCaffrey, he's still dealing with injury, so guess what? They're going to have to lean on their other offensive players, namely Deebo Samuel. Now, George Kittle is also on that squad, but Deebo is much more versatile, much quicker, much stronger than George Kittle. So my offensive player of the year is going to be Deebo Samuel. Phantom 313 says I think Kirk Cousins might be the
comeback player of the year.
Comeback. The comeback player of the year. Yeah, Kirk Cousins could probably be the comeback player of the year because he did tear his Achilles. I'm not really sure if that would count or not. But all right, final thoughts on offensive.
No, hang on. Sorry, no. If he comes back and has a good season, Aaron Rodgers is going to be comeback player of the year.
There you go. That's the answer. If Aaron Rodgers has a decent year, he will be comeback player of the year. I think that closes that category for sure. All right, let us go to the defensive player of the year. Miami J is picking Micah Parsons out of Dallas.
Yep. I think, I mean, he's the leader of the defense, a good defense in Dallas. Their offense is what makes them what they are.
Yep.
But, honestly, best defensive player in the NFL. That's all you got to say.
Okay, very good. Jay Blaze. Now, this is a very good defensive player of the year pick in Aiden Hutchinson. I think this is his third or fourth year. One of the best edge rushers in the league. Came out of Michigan, hometown kid. Jay Blaze, Aiden Hutchinson.
See, the reason I went with Aiden instead of Micah, we have Tyron Diggs, so he might take some votes away from Micah.
Yep.
And Aiden's the star of the Lions defense.
He is.
And we don't know how the scheme will go with the Cowboys because they have a new defensive coordinator. So that's the only reason I didn't do that.
Okay, very good. I like the pick. Listen, I'm in agreement with Miami J. I think now that Aaron Donald is out of the league, I think that Micah Parsons. Honestly, man, I think Micah Parsons could quite possibly be the best player in football. He fell off right around the end of last season. But that was his third year last year. I think it was the second or third year. It's clear, like when you watch the tape, Micah Parsons is held almost every play, and it almost never, ever, ever gets called. The one player who is able to contain Micah Parsons is Lane Johnson. And there's only one Lane Johnson in the league. So, yeah, I think Micah Parsons, and I think he is going to be in line for a 20-plus sack year. I think he wins the Defensive Player of the Year going away, and I think he gets a $40 million a year contract. He's that good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let us move to the next.
Can't disagree with any of that.
All right, so now we are into the MVP discussion. Miami J, your pick is Christian McCaffrey. Explain your pick.
Yes, sir. Well, he was the MVP of my fantasy team last year.
There it is.
So
there it is.
I never like to pick quarterbacks for MVP. I think that's just too easy.
Okay.
And after that, I look at honestly which player I think is most valuable for his team, and I can't see anybody else other than Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
I think he is as irreplaceable as they come in any offense in the NFL.
Okay, very good.
And,
go ahead.
And yeah, he might be dealing with injuries, but he's proven it before. He's had injuries before.
Yeah,
he's still come back and led the league. So
okay, all right, very good.
I think if he has a good year, he's going to move into that conversation of running backs with longevity.
You know what's interesting? I think Christian McCaffrey is, because we had this discussion over the text thread. Right now, I think we can only think of maybe two running backs that we can call future Hall of Famers. One of them is Christian McCaffrey. Gore? The other one, Derek. Well, Frank Gore is out of the league. So, yeah, I mean, he's...
You mean in the league? Okay.
Yeah, right. In the league, right. Yeah, Frank Gore is he's the NFL's third all-time leading rusher. He belongs in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. But we were talking about, like, the increased obsoleteness, I don't even know if that's a word, of the American football running back. And I can't think of any other running back other than McCaffrey and maybe Derrick Henry that we are calling future Hall of Famers, unless you guys can think of any.
I can't.
I couldn't either.
Yeah, we had this conversation, and I couldn't come up with anybody.
Okay, good stuff. All right, Christian McCaffrey, very good pick.
The only one that got close, and that's because of his longevity as well, was Raheem Mostert, but he doesn't have the performance stats to get up.
Or the longevity, and he was definitely a late bloomer. Definitely a late bloomer.
Yeah,
definitely a late bloomer
for sure.
Okay, Joe Burrow is Jay Blaze's pick for most valuable player. I can't say I disagree with that. Explain that one.
I think Joe Burrow probably top 2, top 3 quarterback in the league, and dude, he went down with his wrist tear, and I think he's going to come back with a vengeance. And dude, if he doesn't have Chase for the first maybe 2 or 3 games and still lights it up, I think that will push him over the edge.
Not only that, Joe Burrow, injury or not, he's a notoriously slow starter. Each year that he has started, he had the appendectomy. They started off 1-3. They ended up beating Mahomes in Kansas City to make the Super Bowl. They're Joe Burrow's kind of a slow starter, but I think that's a very good pick. Why is the Wi-Fi signal up on the? Okay, so I'm gonna make a prediction here. So the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line, not as good as it has been in the past 2 years. I think Patrick Mahomes gets hurt. I think Carson Wentz. I'm totally joking. Carson Wentz is not going to sniff the most valuable player. Listen, I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes as the most valuable player. And you know what's interesting? What Miami J said about Christian McCaffrey, I think it applies to Mahomes. I think if the Niners lose Christian McCaffrey, obviously they're a different football team, right? If the Chiefs lose Patrick Mahomes, that's a different franchise. There is no other play. I mean, last year, if there was a year to beat the Chiefs to keep them out of the Super Bowl, it was last year. They had to play 2 road playoff games. And remember, down the stretch, they were not that good. You had Travis Kelce arguing with Andy Reid and all kinds of antics and everything, and they still won the Super Bowl. And it's because of number 15 in red. So I think we're about to see a run of MVPs by Patrick Mahomes. I think the writers at some point, like we'll talk about LeBron for a second. Every year LeBron, well, up until maybe 5 or 6 years ago, LeBron was the MVP every year. They just decided to give it to other players because they got LeBron fatigue. Patrick Mahomes, he has been the most valuable player every single year he's been in the league. The only reason why he hasn't won as many is because we get the fatigue. I don't even think Aaron Rodgers should be a 4-time MVP. I think Patrick Mahomes should be a 4-time MVP, but very easy to pick Patrick Mahomes as the MVP, but he makes it easy. He is never not good. He is never not awesome. And I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback like him. He's like Joe Montana, Dan Marino, and John Elway all wrapped up into one person. Yeah. He can move when he has to. He's probably got the best arm in NFL history. He processes quickly. He's deadly accurate. He does all sorts of crazy. Dude, he threw a behind the back pass. Dude, he's like a magician out there on the field. But most of all, Mahomes does not miss the layups. Mahomes does not miss layups. He doesn't throw, and remember last year with all the drop passes, Mecole Hardman and dropping passes. He's the guy that scored the winning touchdown in the Super Bowl. But my MVP is Patrick Mahomes until somebody proves that they're more valuable to their team than he is. Last thoughts on our most valuable player award.
I'll say something about Mahomes real quick. Obviously, I don't think it's a secret that I watch a lot of European soccer. Mm-hmm. So I watch a lot of sports in like European sports.
Yeah.
So people in Europe and the rest of the world don't really pay attention to the NFL.
Right.
They don't really care all that much.
No, they don't.
Mahomes is one of the very few.
Huh.
You can include Tom Brady in that conversation.
Yep.
Maybe I can't think of anybody else right off the top of my head. Anyway, he's one of the very few that you can in the NFL that you can call a global superstar.
Yes, absolutely.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And there's clearly a reason for that. And now we move into our coaches of the year. Miami J with the homer pick. I think I actually like this pick. I like McDaniel as this pick. He went to bat for Tua, got Tua his money. These guys are tight at the hip. Miami J, Mike McDaniel, man, I'm with it.
Yep. Well, this is the year for the Dolphins. They got to do it this year.
It's now or never.
McDaniel's had enough time now.
Yep.
This is third year. This is it. It's go time. Let's go.
We're
ready, Miami.
Let's veer off on another subject. And I'm sure you probably were privy to this, the both of you. But Miami J, listen, we all saw and heard the Tua podcast. He talked about the fact that that Brian, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. What the hell was that guy's name? Brian Flores, a Belichick guy. He treated Tua like Belichick treated Brady. There's just one problem. Tua's not Brady, right? No. And so, of course, Mike McDaniel came in, put his arms around him. What are your thoughts on that whole situation with Brian Flores versus Mike McDaniel? And do you think that Belichick coaches now have a bad reputation because of guys like Flores?
Maybe. That last point's quite possible.
Yeah.
I will say this: I never understood the Flores hiring in the first, to begin with.
Yeah,
it was at a point in the league. This was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah,
a point in the league where everybody was going offensive. Offensive.
Yeah,
and Greer, the Dolphins GM, decided to sig when everybody was zagging and go defense.
You're right.
I didn't understand it.
Right.
It didn't keep up with the rest of the division. To me, it wasn't a good pick at all. And I don't know much about his relationship with Tua, but that's probably right. He probably took the Belichick example and tried to make Tua into Brady. And
not everybody, Brady's built different. Like, Brady's just built different. Yeah. Like, to be berated by, you're a 4 or 5-time Super Bowl champion. He still berated Brady, and it just made him better. People just ain't built like Tom Brady. That's just all there's to it. I think Mike McDaniel, I think he is ushering in sort of a new, not really ushering in. What we're starting to notice is that a lot of the best coaches, a lot of the better coaches in the league are young offensive guys. Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Mike McDaniel. that seems to be the trend, to have an offensive type head coach. Mike McDaniel is as offensive a head coach as there is in the league. And I'll tell you something. I think the Dolphins do make the playoffs, and I think they probably win a game or two, but I think Mike McDaniel is safe in Miami. I think even with all the chatter, because I think, honestly, Mike McDaniel, can we think of, the only coach that I can think of that was really the only two coaches better than him, Don Shula and Jimmy Johnson. Other than that, it's been a bunch of Brian Flores's and, Wink Martindale's.
Sperano.
Yeah, Tony Sperano. Yeah, God rest his soul.
Look, and, I've been here since the Shula days. And I have never seen, obviously, Don Shula was something else.
He's the king, yeah.
But I haven't seen this city, this community embrace a coach the way they've embraced Johnson.
Yeah. I like Mike McDaniel. Go ahead, Jay Blaze.
You know what I think people like about McDaniels and what the owners like? We saw this with baseball, where we saw Moneyball, where you brought in all the analytics.
Yes.
And so you had all the baseball owners going, oh, I understand this, because these guys are highly successful, mathematicians.
Yes.
They dealt with hedge funds and stuff, so they could get their mind around the numbers. And so we're seeing baseball take a hit because they pushed too far into analytics. And now you see all these pitchers that are, we're supposed to be starting pitchers, but you don't know the makeup of starting pitchers. So
until they're out there
moving these guys into relievers and stuff.
Yeah.
So you might see it go down because they're going to try and bring in these analytics guys.
Yeah.
We're already seeing this with, remember for the guy for the Chargers.
Brandon. Oh God, Brandon Staley. Jesus Christ. Yeah. But again, defensive head coach.
Well, all the nerds kept saying, if you go on fourth down here, you're going to get it.
How many times? How many times did he fail?
Yeah, but each time these nerds don't account for the crippling morale of losing a fourth conversion.
Yeah.
And how devastating that is for the morale of your team. They can't process that.
Quantify it.
There you go.
It's a variable.
Yep.
So
no, I agree. I think, and this is why, and I love Mike McDaniel, man. And part of the reason I like him is because I watched Hard Knocks with the Dolphins. Yeah. There is nothing not to like about this guy. This guy literally, he hits all the markers. He's young. He's into analytics, like Jay Blaze says. He's an offensive head coach, and most of all, he's a players coach. His guys love him. He is all about his players. If you're a young guy who's a players coach, who's an offensive mind, guys are the team morale is gonna be high because you guys are gonna be moving the football all the way down the field. So I like Mike McDaniel as coach of the year.
And the city loves him too. It's hilarious to see all these. I don't know if you guys have seen them. They've been on local Miami pages. These memes where comparing McDaniel year 1 to now year 3.
Oh yes. With the hair now.
Year 1, he's all cleaned up with the suit. Now
Like a
cocaine kingpin.
Yeah. Colin Cowherd calls him he calls him a hipster. He calls him the NFL's first hipster head coach, man. But I like his energy. I like how he runs around on the field. I like how he sprints off at halftime. I like that he's quirky and he's brilliant at the mic. He is brilliant at the podium. Go ahead, Jay Blaze.
Yeah.
And to defend Flores a little bit, did you guys see the documentary on Tua? Dude, the dad was just absolutely brutal on him. And one of the reasons he got the Alabama job is because he was highly disciplined. So I think, and we saw this with the Troy Aikman the Football Life, where Jimmy would just go off on players.
Yes, that was
brought
good.
Players closer to Troy. I think Flores was going for that, where he was going to rip into the players and Tua, and it would bring the players closer to Tua. But I don't think Tua had the makeup to just get absolutely roasted every game. Dude, it takes a special player to do that.
Listen, no one's going to recreate New England. What happened in New England is never going to happen again. You've got the greatest coach in NFL history, the greatest defensive coach in NFL history, the greatest quarterback in NFL history, and they hated each other. They never went out to dinner. It was a very cordial relationship. But I think what Brian Flores, what Jay Blaze was referring to, I don't think he disliked Tua. But of course, we don't know if that's true because, we all know that Brian Flores famously wanted Justin Herbert instead of Tua, but that's, for another day and time. But I think he wanted to try to galvanize the team because the dynamic in New England, all of the players, to a man, all Patriots said, look, we worked for Bill, we played for Tom. And I think that Brian Flores was more or less trying to create that. Okay, look, I'll be the good cop. Or I'll be the bad cop. Tua, you be the good cop. Talk shit about me, blah, 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 blah. We'll be enemies in public. We'll be Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon where everybody hates the big boss man, but we still go out and perform. But just like we said, Tua just did not have that makeup. And it's and it's interesting because Tom Brady Sr. was not that hard on Tom Brady Jr., whereas Belichick was very hard on Brady. It's almost like the inverse of Tua's upbringing. His father was very tough on him. Nick Saban didn't have to be. Brian Flores didn't have to be, but he was anyway. I just think that juxtaposition I think is very interesting. Final thoughts on Mike McDaniel as the head coach. All right.
No.
All right, I think we've said all that needs to be said. Real quick before we move on, Machete says, "What the hell, Donovan Sharpe? I was only used to watch his red pill content, dude. I've been doing the sports podcast since I started, bruh. Like, dude, I had MLD on back in 2017 making like picks against the spread, so I don't know where you've been at." Another question. Phantom 313 says, "Do you think Buffalo makes the playoffs? Miami J, do they make the playoffs?"
They may fight for a wild card spot, but I don't see it.
Like a 5 or 6 or 7. Okay. Jay Blaze.
Yeah, they might. The caveat to that is I think you're gonna have probably 3 playoff teams out of the
AFC East.
No. Where the Bengals are.
The AFC North. Got it.
North. Yeah.
Right. Because they got all 4 teams in this year. They got all 4 teams in. So it was all 4 of those teams, then another division winner, and then. What do you think, Jay Blaze? Do the Bills make the playoffs? Yes or no?
So it's going to be tough because I think the Jets are better than the Bills.
I think they are too.
Right now.
Yeah.
And, dude, you have the Bengals. I think the Bengals, Ravens, and Browns are getting the playoffs.
I agree. I agree.
Exactly. There you go. There it is.
Yeah, and I think that makes it very tough for Buffalo to get. Buffalo is going to have to be better than the Jets. Buffalo is going to have to be better than the Jets or the Dolphins to give themselves a shot because I don't think they win the division. I think the Jets win the division, but if they don't, I think it's definitely Miami. But I think the Jets. I think the Jets are. I think they're the best. I think they're potentially the best in the division, and Miami is better than Buffalo. And there's just not enough playoff spots to get the Bills in. So I agree with that.
And let me throw this one at you. When you look at the strength of schedule, one being the easiest.
Yeah.
One being the easiest. The Jets are at 4.
Woo!
The Dolphins are at 8. Buffalo's at 27.
Oh my God. So that's like the 4th toughest schedule in football. Wow.
Yep.
This is what happens when you. This is what happens when you make it to the divisional round against the Chiefs. It is what it is. Jay Blaze, your pick for Coach of the Year is Raheem Morris out of Atlanta. I also like this pick very much, and a lot of people probably don't remember. This is Raheem Morris' second head coaching job. His first head coaching job was in Tampa. So Jay Blaze, Raheem Morris, man.
So the Falcons underperformed last year.
They did.
And, dude, it's set up for him to win Coach of the Year if he even gets to the playoffs. And, it doesn't help that he's black. So
no, it doesn't hurt. It certainly doesn't hurt. No, it does not hurt.
Yeah.
No, we gotta put that into play. I've always liked Raheem Morris. Defensive head coach, but little known fact, his best friend in the world is Rams head coach Sean McVay. So if they're best friends, maybe he rubs a little bit of that offensive juju onto Raheem. Yeah. And I guess it stands to reason that the Falcons would go in the other direction. They just fired Arthur Smith, who was an offensive head coach. And I think Arthur Smith, and listen, I don't want to take anything away from Arthur Smith. He was the offensive coordinator in Tennessee. He helped out Ryan Tannehill. When he was working for Mike Vrabel, who the Titans are absolutely fucking dumb for getting rid of. What the fuck were they thinking? Holy shit. But Arthur Smith then became the head coach of the Falcons. Well, his offensive coordinator was Kyle Shanahan. And after they gave up that 25-point lead in Super Bowl 51, the Falcons were never the same after that. That opened up the door for Raheem Morris. I think this is a very good pick. Final thoughts on Raheem Morris, either one?
It does help
like
that he has a veteran quarterback, not a rookie quarterback.
Yes.
And it takes less pressure off the offense coordinator.
I totally agree. Go ahead, Miami J. What do you got?
Yep.
Okay, very good.
No, I'm just saying I like it.
Okay. My pick for Coach of the Year, I got DeMeco Ryans, man. I think, and I guess I'm sort of foreshadowing here, I think the Houston Texans, I think they run away with the division. I think they're a 12 to 13 win football team, and I think they make the AFC title game. I think this is DeMeco Ryans, that was an unbelievable year. Rookie head coach, rookie quarterback, nobody knew what to expect. They win the division and then won a playoff game. And honestly, they gave Baltimore all they could handle until about the middle of the third quarter when Baltimore said, "Okay, that's enough of this. We're not, that's enough. We're just going to go ahead and, run over you boys and get this done." DeMeco Ryans, another defensive head coach. Now, if you're a defensive head coach, you got to be damn good to be Coach of the Year, because 2 out of our 3 picks for Coach of the Year are defensive head coaches. But to a man on this podcast, we all agree that bringing in an offensive head coach is probably going to be more advantageous than bringing in a defensive head coach. So DeMeco Ryans and Raheem Morris, very, very good, very young, talented head coaches. DeMeco Ryans, he looks like he could still be playing. He actually played for 3 years when he was out with Philadelphia. So we know that. Pardon me. So we know he knows what we know that he knows what he's talking about out there. Cigar Man says McDaniel on his next press conference will show up in a Versace silk shirt and shades on. Dude, I love that dude's fucking swag, man. Yes. I love his swag. Dude, McDaniel. I love how he is unapologetically like. That's just himself. He wears his, I think he wears he rolls his pants all the way up to his knees. He just doesn't give a fuck. He leaves the price tag on his shoes. Dude, he doesn't give a fuck. All while wearing, $1,300 Versace, custom made glasses. Phantom 303, this is a very good point. Says people forget that Raheem Morris, was the interim head coach for the Falcons before they made Arthur Smith the head coach. That's exactly right. But after they made Arthur Smith the head coach, Raheem Morris went over and worked for Sean McVay in L.A. for a few years, and now he's back in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Very good. Phantom 303 says Stroud and Diggs, OMG. Dude, Stephon Diggs is going to be the third. Here's how loaded the Texans are. Stephon Diggs, who we know is one of the best receivers in the league, he's going to be the third best receiver on that squad. Tank Dell, Nico Collins, I think they both go over 1,000 yards. I think they both probably have over 80 balls. Stephon will probably have somewhere in the 60s, might have 800 yards, but yeah, they've got an embarrassment of riches out there. All right, guys. Go ahead.
The only minus I have for DeMeco Ryans winning Coach of the Year, he does not have the surprise factor.
No. They see him coming. They see him coming now. Dude. Yeah. They're not. Listen, man, CJ Stroud and the Texans and they're not sneaking up on anybody this year. As a matter of fact, I think they have a pretty difficult schedule, if I'm not mistaken. Go ahead, Miami J.
I was just going to say real quick before we move on to Super Bowl picks, if we can remind everybody about the league.
Yes, let us remind everyone about and by the way, actually, we're doing Super Bowl picks next week. I just couldn't. I couldn't squeeze. I wanted to sort of space it out because I didn't want to have you guys on until I didn't want to have you guys on too late because I mean like last week, I had you guys on here till past midnight. I felt bad about that. Yes, guys, listen. The TSR Fantasy League. I don't have a keyboard, so I can't put it in the chat. But what you need to do is you need to email Miami J. He's going to put the email in the chat. Put TSR Fantasy League in the description and make sure it's all caps. We still have 4 spots left. We got 4 spots left. I'm in the league. Jay Blaze is in the league. Miami J. We got some other guys as well. I think Rolo probably signed up as well. Rolo's in it. Rolo's in the league. Guys get to play with Rolo Tomasi. Rolo's been in our league for every year now, right? Like this is like his 5th or
since the beginning. Rolo, it's the three people who've been in it the entire time is you, me, and Rolo. You, me, and Rolo are the original 3. Listen, go to that email address, miami305.j@gmail.com. Make sure you put TSR Fantasy League in the description in all caps. One last question here from Cigarman85 says, LA Chargers wild card this season. That's a tough one because they lost Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and Austin Eckler.
Yeah.
I don't know who he's going to throw the ball to.
Bosa injured?
He probably is. He's on that squad, but he's probably hurt. Unfortunately for him, he's injury. Listen, they've still got Kareem Jackson, the thumper. Derwin James is still on that squad. Khalil Mack is still on that squad. So they've got a really good defense. I just don't know. I don't know who's going to score the points for the Chargers.
They might be one of these teams like the Colts were last year that nobody really expects a lot out of them, but near the end of the season they're kind of in there challenging for a playoff spot. They might make it.
Coaching makes the difference in these situations, and their head coach is Jim Harbaugh, who took Colin Kaepernick and the 49ers to 2 straight NFC title games and a Super Bowl appearance in Super Bowl 47. And let's not forget, they had a 21-point lead on the Baltimore Ravens in Super Bowl 47 before the lights went out, and then that sort of changed things. So, do the Chargers get a wild card? I don't think there are enough spots for the Chargers because you're already going to have a division winner in Kansas City. Then I don't think Denver gets in. I don't think the Raiders definitely aren't going to be in. I think Devontae Adams probably gets traded before the season or traded during the season.
Okay, here.
Go ahead. What you got?
Let me make an argument for the Chargers.
Okay, all right.
And I'm going to be known as a strength of schedule geek, I guess.
Yes, no, I like it.
Okay. So, like I said, 1 being the easiest, 32 being the toughest.
Okay.
Cleveland's at 30, Baltimore's at 29.
God!
Oof.
The Chargers are at 2.
Wow! So the Chargers have the second easiest schedule in the league. Oh, my God.
Football. Yes, sir. So, it's
wow.
possible.
Yeah, what's Buffalo's strength of schedule?
Buffalo's
28, right?
at 20. Yeah, 28.
Okay. What about and the Jets have the what about Miami? Because the
Jets are 4. Miami is 8.
If the Dolphins don't make the playoffs, if the Jets win the division and the Dolphins don't make the playoffs, that leaves room for the Chargers. That leaves room for the Chargers because I think the only thing that could separate Miami from the LA Chargers is the strength of schedule. That's the only reason why the Dolphins would finish with a record not as good as LA. It's the strength of schedule. That's the only thing I have to lean on at this point. Go ahead, Chili's. Okay.
But I don't think their competition would be Miami. I think Cleveland's far more likely.
What's Cleveland's strength of schedule?
30th.
Oh, god damn. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that makes it. And keep in mind, guys, these are rankings based on last year. As the season progresses, schedule strength is going to change, but teams pretty much stay the same. So that's all we have to base it on. Go ahead, Jay Blaze.
Yeah, I think the Chargers have a better shot than the Bills.
Okay, all right, okay.
Yes,
I agree with that. I agree with that. I agree with that. Yeah. Now keep in mind though, God, that difficult schedule. But James Cook has emerged. They've replaced Stephon Diggs with Keon Coleman, who is the greatest sound of dude. He is. Oh my God. Like the league needs like 8 Keon Colemans. Like that dude is country as hell, and I'm here for it. But yeah, I think I agree with that. Phantom 313 says I think Baltimore and Cincy gets in. I also think the Jaguars make the playoffs. I think Houston wins the division, but if there is a wild card that comes out of the AFC South, I definitely think it's Jacksonville. What do you guys think? There's Indy.
Jaguars.
Well, there is Indianapolis. Oh, wow.
I think Indy might make a run for it, too. I think Indy's in that conversation.
Who's better right now,
More
Indianapolis or Jacksonville?
Indianapolis.
Richardson had a bad preseason game last.
Yeah,
his
he did.
last preseason game was bad.
Yeah, he started 7 for 8, then he threw a pick 6.
Yeah.
But
I look
remember
at the defense, and I think Indianapolis has a far more.
Indy's defense is much better.
Talented defense. Yeah.
Boy, that's going to be. I'm going to tell you what. Listen. I think we all agree that Houston's going to run away from it. But below Houston, I think the AFC South is probably one of the more intriguing divisions in football. One last topic. What coach, if you can think of it, who's the first head coach that is going to be fired?
Okay, who's the top guys on the hot seat right now?
Well, Nick Sirianni's on the hot seat.
Mike McCarthy
Ron
is.
Rivera coaching?
He's fired.
I know, I was joking.
Oh, Jesus Christ. There's my pick is Matt Eberflus. My pick is Matt Eberflus out in Chicago.
Oh, yeah. Easy.
Yeah. I don't think he survives the season. He's a defensive head coach. You've got a rookie quarterback. Listen, the Bears appear to be loaded offensively if Keenan Allen can stay healthy and Caleb Williams can be the leader that he is showing himself to be. But we know that. Listen, Matt Eberflus, he screwed up Mitchell Trubisky. Listen, we know that defensive head coaches are not typically good for young quarterbacks. And I think that if Caleb Williams gets off to a slow start, I think Eberflus is out the door. I don't think the Eagles were loaded, right? But let's just say, for the sake of argument, if the Eagles start 1-4, Sirianni's definitely out the door. I don't see us starting 1-4, but that's the only situation I can see him getting canned before the season. Go ahead.
Can we all agree that Caleb Williams will be the biggest draft bust?
No, I don't think so. No, not yet. I've got a no. Listen, he's definitely got the physical tools. But what's going to make him a bust has nothing to do with his physical attribute. Busts it's never. It's always up here. Ryan Leaf, Carson Wentz. I mean, these guys are, Jeff George, right? I mean, they're all, physically, Ryan Mallett, et cetera. Oh, dude, God rest his soul. He recently passed away. But yeah, it never has to do with the talent. Yeah, Ryan Mallett. Yeah, 6'7". He died, I think, either earlier last year or this year. Also, Jacoby Jones.
He was fantastic in Arkansas.
He was all of 6'7". Jacoby Jones for the Baltimore Ravens, who returned the kickoff for a touchdown in Super Bowl 47. He recently passed away. So you just never know. Phantom 313 says Mike McCarthy. Ooh, that's a tasty one. That's a tasty one. Oh, that's a tasty.
Yeah, if the Cowboys don't get off to a good start,
I don't think the Cowboys. Listen, I think the only way the Cowboys make the playoffs. I think the only way the Cowboys make the playoffs is if they play the Arizona Cardinals like all 17 games. And even then, they probably finish the season 9-8 and barely squeak in. I think it's going to go sideways early for Dallas. Dude, CeeDee Lamb isn't in camp. He's gonna pop a hamstring as soon as he hits the field. We're gonna find out that we're gonna find out that Dak Prescott really is just kind of Kirk Cousins with a better PR agent. It's gonna be ugly for Dallas. What do you think, Jay Blaze?
But
I would agree.
Dallas. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Good.
So I don't think the Cowboys have an assistant that they want to elevate. Like,
oh boy.
If they had Kellen Moore still, I would say
there you go.
He's on a short list.
Okay, all right.
But I they have a defense coordinator they just hired that used to be the defense coordinator. Like they don't want to elevate him. Like it almost helps Mike McCarthy that they have no assistant.
You might actually be right. Mike McCarthy might actually survive the season because the Cowboys don't have anybody else to turn to. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They're gonna have to put CeeDee Lamb at coach.
Oh my God. Yeah, exactly. Well, hell, they listen. They got to get him. They got to get him in camp first. They got to get him on the field first. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. Guys, another awesome show. Kind of got off to a choppy start. I have destroyed my useless keyboard, so I'm gonna have to go out and buy another one tomorrow. That, pardon me, is going to do it for this